Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Citizen A. We're reviewing the week with bloggers Selwyn Manning and Phoebe Fletcher. Issue 3 this week, Trouble at Classroom, with Anne Tolley rumbling with the PPTA. Who gets a detention and who gets an apple for teachers? Selwyn, the government say they have no money for teachers, yet they had plenty of cash to give hundreds of millions in tax cuts to the wealthiest New Zealanders and found $35 billion for the private education sector. Do teachers have a right to be angry?
Teachers, of course, have a right to be angry. You see what the government is proposing there at every level of pay increase is well below where inflation is already. Inflation is expected to be going up, notching up. So when you look at it in dollar terms, teachers that are out there doing a professional job in trying to upskill and teach our children in this country are expected to be doing that at a decreasing rate of value. Is that a rise? It's not a rise. Their choices are coming back to bite National at the moment. Their choices, like you said, is to divert funds and wealth into the upper areas, the upper income bracket of New Zealanders. It is not there to channel funds into the state employees, if you like. It's got to do it.
Phoebe, teachers are greedy. They get money for nothing. They are selfish pinkos who are trying to indoctrinate socialism into the next generation. I know this because I've been to the Bring Back Paul Henry Now Facebook supporters group. Anne Tolley is right to screw primary school teachers over with national standards and screw over post-primary school teachers with crappy conditions, isn't she?
Oh, the Bring Back Paul Henry site. That is just frightening. I've had to stop myself reading that.
I'm addicted to it. I've got to read it every day.
Well, you know, I would have to say that, you know, I teach at university, and so I have some familiarity. I guess I'm not primary or secondary school with this sort of job. I would object to being called a bingo that indoctrinates people with socialism. Socialism
for the next generation. I know, but they say that. Bring Back Paul Henry Facebook. They know.
I think it's, you know, it's remarkable. I think that the way that the negotiations are going at the moment, I mean, the sort of issues that you've got 30 students in a class. If you've ever tried to teach 30 students in one class, it is very difficult. In fact, you know, the numbers are best at around 20. You've got Tolley saying that this is something that they can't intervene in at all, that it belongs with the boards. But it's clearly nothing is happening at the level of the boards. You know, Tolley should be much better at actually being able to intervene and negotiate, and the strikes are the result of that.
Yeah, I see two things in play there. One is Tolley's inability to grasp her portfolio. We've seen that since she was appointed.
She's not very good, is she?
Since she was appointed to that ministerial post, it was demonstrable. It's not a surprise. The other thing is, too, is National is facing an energised Labour Party network that is in, you know, the unions are right in there with Labour, and they're demonstrating to the country, this is what we can do. We can destabilise, we can occupy space on television news, and we're going to actually put it right up the government on this issue.
The PPTA are one of the stronger unions around. Has National bitten off too much they can chew with this issue? I mean, they have come in and said, oh, we'll pay you for striking. So they are trying to make some sort of... They want to dampen this down, don't they?
They want it to go away, but it's not going to go away. And we saw, you know, we were criticising John Key for not fronting up to big issues before. He has been pulled in on this issue.
Right.
Tolley is obviously not able to cope with it in a sense of being able to spin the government's views on this issue out there to the public. So John Key is left to go out there, smile through it and say, they're being unreasonable, there's just not the money there. It is all a matter of allocation and decisions on where money should go, and the government is saying, we don't think that they're worth it.
Is Anne Tolley a very good Ministry of Education? She doesn't seem to get the portfolio very well. She certainly doesn't articulate the position the government want to get through very well, does she?
Well, I think this is a clear demonstration of, you know, her, exactly as Selwyn said, perhaps not having a grasp on her portfolio. I mean, this is an issue that is going to bite National, that people's children are not going to schools. You've got Tolley saying, still send your children to school so you don't have to take a day off work because it's their legal obligation to look after them. But there is only
a solution. These kids just like, no school, no one's here, just here. That was a pretty stupid thing for her to say, wasn't it?
Well, I think they are legally obligated to have someone there to look after them, but they're certainly not learning. I mean, this is something that's going to hit National if they do not come out strongly and deal with it shortly. I mean, this cannot go on.
Who wins, who loses in this fight with the teachers?
National.
Yep. Who wins, who loses with this fight with the teachers?
National.
I love it when everyone agrees. Okay, let's wrap the show with last word. Selwyn, your last word this week is?
Well, I'm absolutely appalled that Murray McCulley travels
My friend Muzza.
travels to Indonesia this week, announces a New Zealand-Indonesia Friendship Society while he is over in Jakarta, at the very time when video evidence is surfaced of Indonesian troops torturing and murdering 2 individuals in West Papua. It was pointed out to McCulley's office yesterday by Scoop.
And
The answer,
yeah.
no comment. Appalling. My last word is basically, how appalling can a government cabinet minister be?
So let me get this straight. We're now friends with Indonesia, in the very same week that these images of them torturing activists?
No, they were priests in
right.
West Papua, 2 priests,
Yep.
tortured to death, burning sticks to the genitals of one before he was murdered. That surfaces on Monday, the day before McCulley leaves. It was all over the Sydney Morning Herald. It was all over Scoop. And his
incredible.
office says, and Foreign Affairs say, they did not brief the minister on that. McCulley's briefed yesterday, no comment.
Well, that's part of our kind of
That's
ongoing stance
incredible.
towards Indonesia, hasn't it been? If you look historically at the East Timor.
Phoebe, your final word.
I have to go back to Paul Henry now that you've brought up his supporters page.
Love his
which
supporters
I actually
page.
had to
I
stop
love it.
looking
I
at
love
because
it.
it was annoying me too much. TVNZ, you know, basically is over a barrel. They are having to go for a ratings-oriented model, and this is, you know, to do with National wanting to scrap the charter. If Paul Henry had worked for any other station worldwide, he would have been fired. Okay, BBC have, you know, issued warnings or fired people for less. Okay, CNN also fired someone over the last couple of weeks. In France, he could have actually faced criminal charges. TVNZ and the National Party need to realise that television actually has a role in socialisation, and this is why we have legislation for advertising to children and so on, and they must take some kind of social responsibility. The other thing is that New Zealand is also a signatory to the Durban Convention against Racism and Xenophobia, and through taking this kind of stance on the issue, they are actually, you know, provoking and promoting, you know, hate speech in order to get ratings. And this is something that needs to be seriously dealt with because it seriously damages New Zealand's international reputation. We barely get any international coverage unless it is, you know, an election or some kind of major sporting achievement, and we made everything from the Hollywood News to the Golf Reporter. So, you know, come on people, it's about time to put some pressure on National that there actually needs to be some funding going towards TVNZ to ensure some kind of quality broadcasting, because we cannot have this kind of environment.
Amen, sister. Thank you, Selwyn. Thank you, Phoebe. Ladies and gentlemen, to my final word, no TV journalist in New Zealand is ever allowed, for any reason whatsoever, to mention the word ideology on screen. Ever. This unspoken rule is going to make covering the next election next year incredibly difficult for the mainstream media, as it will all be about ideology. The depressing Great Recession, inspired by the failure of deregulated free market extremism, is the reason why beneficiaries are being asked to tighten their belts, while the former merchant banker Prime Minister hands himself and his wealth class giant tax cuts funded by a rise in GST paid by the majority who earn under $50,000. That anger and the perception that corporate criminals benefited by molesting barely understood derivatives markets while the rest of us suffered is ripe for political representation. The free market has failed and the state can offer a better deal. Keynesian capitalism helps build strong democracies, not the greed of Milton Friedman's neoliberal fantasy, and New Zealanders can understand that concept without needing a doctorate in economics, because they are feeling the pain of this economic collapse today. Right now, they are working harder and going backwards. Key's promise they would be better off each week hasn't eventuated, and it's hoped that the recent damning NZIER report will not suggest a deteriorating economic situation, because summer is coming, starts looking a bit boy in a bubble. On next week's Citizen A, Tumiki editor Tim Selwyn and Deputy Mayor of the new Auckland Super City, Penny Holtz, joins us to review the week's events. If you like tonight's show, please join our Citizen A Facebook site and connect with other like-minded news citizens. Thanks for watching, whānau. Good night, Aotearoa.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.